feel like it's important for people experiencing anxiety and all those other disorders to know that you're not alone. You are not alone. You're not.
Yes, I'm in designer. If I see her, then I got her, bro. Yes, I am a dog with these diamonds on my collar.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Let's Be Clear. This is now episode 7, and I'm so excited for this episode because it means a lot to me. So, before I get into the episode, I wanted to let you guys know that I am teaming up with my good friend, Allie, and owner of Stud Muffin brand, Boston. These are just two little things from her store right here, just so I could give you an example of how cute the packaging is. This is Palo Santo, and this is sage if you need to cleanse your demons, right here. So this isn't necessarily what you're going to get if you enter the contest, but you will get a healing type package from Stud Muffin. The sage will be included, and the directions are as follows. You just have to be following Let's Be Clear TV, Stud Muffin Boston, and Big Night Media. Follow those 3 pages. I'll be posting a flyer, video, something. All you got to do is like it, share, and tag 3 friends that you think should win and deserve the package the most. So that's that. So we're gonna do the giveaway together for Mental Health Awareness Month, because that's what May is, and that is what this episode is all about. Episode 7 is called Your Mental Health Matters. And I just said about 1,000 times again, Sam, but it's okay. We're gonna move forward and try not to say it. So your mental health matters. Mental Health Awareness Month, for those of you that are lucky enough to not experience any type of mental health disorder, you're blessed, but be more aware and be more conscious of those that do experience it, because I feel like a lot of times it's not in the open that these people are feeling this way. Sometimes you really just don't know. It's Robin Williams is a perfect example of someone who had depression, and we just didn't know. We'd never assume it, right? So each year, 44 million adults will experience a serious mental health condition, and less than half of those adults will actually seek treatment. And the reason for that is the stigma, the discrimination, I kind of want to say. People think, and I can say this from personal experience, that therapy is a bad thing. When you're experiencing, listen, it could be depression, it could be anxiety, it could be social anxiety, it could be panic attacks, it could be fatigue, sleep deprivation, insomnia, suicidal thoughts people have, eating disorders, bipolar, alcoholism. There's so many things that go into mental health. So this episode is important to me because I myself struggle with mental health, and I always have. It runs in my family. Sometimes it's hereditary, and there's nothing you can do. But I just wanted everyone to know who does experience it that you're not alone. You're not alone in this. I know so many people who battle with anxiety, depression, bipolar, just so many things, close friends of mine. And a lot of them do go to therapy, and then a lot of them don't. And I'm going to put myself, as a example in this. And when I first started having anxiety, panic attacks, depression, but my depression, I don't have chronic depression, which, but I've had situational. Chronic depression, you have to understand, I think some people think it's an excuse when someone says they're depressed or they're anxious or whatever it may be. But some people literally wake up in the morning and they can't get out of bed. And there's nothing that they're actually depressed about. Nothing has happened. No situation has happened that made them feel this way. but they're depressed. That feeling, which I have experienced in situational circumstances, your whole body feels like it weighs triple what you actually weigh. The thought of getting out of bed makes you more anxious. You don't have an appetite sometimes when you're depressed. Sometimes people who are depressed are the opposite. They eat a lot, and that affects their weight, and in turn that makes them more depressed. In my situations, I found that when I would get depressed, I wouldn't eat at all. When I lost my dog, Louie, which I haven't even made that public to anyone. It happened a year ago, June 22nd. When he passed away, I felt like my heart was destroyed. Now, I already deal with anxiety and mental health, all that stuff, right? So when something like that strikes me, and he was my everything, it tore me apart inside to the point that I couldn't get up out of bed. I couldn't eat. I'm sorry, I can't even talk about him because he was the love of my life. Sorry. So when I lost him, I went through a depression battle that, lasted a good 3 months, I'd say. I lost 30 pounds. I was devastated. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to eat. I would have hot and cold sweats, nightmares, you name it. My whole world felt like it came crashing down. Now, I take that into consideration and I think, wow, some people have that feeling all the time with no reason for it. They just wake up in the morning and they are depressed. A lot of people are against Western medicine. I get it. A lot of people don't want to take drugs to help their, chronic illnesses. But unfortunately, sometimes when you have a chemical imbalance, yes, melatonin can help with sleep. Yes, there are natural remedies. I believe in all of that. And to be honest with you, I wish that I was able to just do everything naturally, because I came to a point personally where I couldn't sleep at all. Insomnia to the fullest, and this is before and after Louis. Sleep has always been an issue for me. So sleep and anxiety have always been a thing, but my depression I was relating to losing him. So what I'm getting at is those feelings, the not being able to sleep, the not being able to eat, natural remedies unfortunately didn't work for me. And sometimes when you're depressed, and this goes generalized to people that wake up and have depression, people say, exercise, go for a walk, do things that benefit your health. But what people don't understand is sometimes when someone has chronic depression, they do not have the motivation to get out of bed and go to the gym, exercise, do any of the things that are beneficial to their health. It's almost like you're in this hole that you really just can't pull yourself out of. It's very, very difficult to pull yourself out of it. And I tried melatonin for my sleep. It gave me severe nightmares. I mean, severe. So melatonin works for a lot of people I know, knocks them out cold. But for me, when I would take melatonin, I would have these anxious dreams that, let's say, for example, I needed to send an important text to someone. And for the whole 8 hours that I'm asleep, the text won't send. So I'm just trying everything, whether it be my fingers can't hit the button, whether it be the phone's not working. And those are the type of dreams that melatonin would cause for me. I tried that first. It didn't work. And like I've mentioned before, if a normal person was on the sleeping medications that my doctor has me on, you'd probably be asleep for a month. But for me, I'm still up at 6 a.m. So it's hard. It's hard to have insomnia. It's hard to not sleep, especially, some depressed people, all they can do is sleep. That's the thing. When you're depressed, you just want to sleep because you don't want to be awake and feel the pain that you feel when you're awake. So even though I don't have chronic depression, I do have chronic anxiety. You wouldn't think that I had social anxiety, but I do. I don't like I don't have social anxiety around my friends, people I know, but I do not like going to big parties with a million people around me. I get claustrophobic. I hate it. I get social anxiety. I don't want to talk to people that I don't know. It's something that I'm working on. This goes into my next thing. So I started with, my doctors prescribing me this to sleep and this for my anxiety and this and that. And I went through probably 10 different medications before I found one that worked. So I totally agree and understand why people are against Western medicine, because it is addictive, it is dangerous, it's all those things, So I'm trying to get to a point in my life where I don't need anything. I try to go for a walk every day when it's nice out, and I do go to therapy, and I'm not ashamed of that. And that's my next thing is there are so many people out there, not only that I know of, that need therapy. And I know from personal experience, it's not something you want to admit, because it's kind of like once you go into that therapy session, that first therapy session, it's like, all right, it's official. I'm crazy. That's how some people think, right? They don't want to be in therapy because, that means I'm a kook. But that's not what that means. A lot of people need therapy for many different reasons. People that go to AA that are, addicted to alcohol, that's therapy. People that have depression, they go to their therapy appointments. I talk to my therapist just because it's nice to have someone that's not your family, that's not your friend, that's kind of an unbiased opinion. Someone that you can talk to, vent to, let all your emotions out to. Someone that's gonna piece together every little thing in your life and how it's affected you and brought you to where you are today. So that's why I started doing therapy. I probably started about 3-4 months ago. I started when I was in LA. I was in LA for a month. So I had 4 sessions there. I talk to my therapist every week. I love him. He's amazing. And I recommend it. I really, truly recommend it. Even if you don't need prescription medications and you don't have anxiety and but if you have those moments where you get sad and you don't know why, or, bipolar, which, is a very common thing, therapy is so helpful. It really is. And I think that there's such a stigma towards it. Because like I said, less than half of those 44 million people that are struggling with some sort of mental disease, disorder, or whatever it may be, aren't seeking help. So, as you see on the internet, as days and months and years go by and people are committing suicide, and, there's a lot of bullying, and there's children that have their whole lives ahead of them, taking their own lives because some little twit at school made them feel bad about themselves. And they're too young to realize that little twit's opinion doesn't matter. 10-year-olds I've heard have taken their own life, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, kids that have their whole lives ahead of them, never mind adults, where it's such a common thing. And I feel like for Mental Awareness Month, we should check in on our friends, check in on the people you love, check in on someone that maybe you don't even know, but you think is struggling. Because like I said this in my last episode, and I'll reiterate, that one comment that you make to someone, one little comment, could change their whole thought process, their whole point of view, their whole day, their whole mindset. Just pay attention. Pay closer attention. Those of you that don't experience anxiety, depression, and all of those things, I know it's harder for you to grasp what it actually is and what it actually feels like. But to have a panic attack, it isn't like, oh my God, I'm having a panic attack, which I know some people, will say that. But a real panic attack, your heart starts beating out of your chest. You can't catch your breath. You feel like you're trapped in your own body. All your surroundings, everything, it turns into tunnel vision, and there's nothing else you can see but that state of panic that you're experiencing and that you're in. And it's crippling. I've been to the hospital before. I've had to go to the emergency room before for panic attacks. So this is all information, that I've never really put out there. My close friends know, obviously, but I feel like it's important for people experiencing anxiety and all those other disorders to know that you're not alone. You are not alone. You're not. And I really do recommend treatment. Whether it just be talking to somebody, whether it be going to your primary care and just explaining to them what you're feeling. Maybe they can recommend vitamins or, anything that 100% try natural things before you have to go to the Western medicine thing, because it's once you get involved in it, and it's just, But, let's take a pause, and I'm going to bring you to my first segment of Let's Be Clear, and it is called Buckle Up, Bitches. So this segment is just going to kind of be my experiences on the road. So first things first, today, let's, spunk this episode up a little bit, make it a little bit happier. Today, when I was pulling into the garage, I hit one of those giant totem poles. All I said was whoops, and pulled out and pulled back in and didn't even check the car because I just would rather not know if I did any damage. So if you're riding with me, buckle up. And then also 2 days ago, I may have been going a little fast. Like 15 miles over the speed limit, like nothing serious. And it was raining, so I probably shouldn't have been going fast, but yeah, it was raining and I have bald tires, add that to the mix. And I was coming to a light by the bakery that I go to every morning to get a coffee. And as I was coming up to the light turns yellow, but I was going too fast to stop. I knew I was, so I kept going. And of course, right as the nose of my car hits the light, it turns red. So technically, I went through a red light. And sure enough, my luck, being the wonderful luck that it is, literally the light that I went through was 2 seconds from the bakery that I was going to. I pull in, boom, blues are on behind me. State trooper cornered me in the Andy Mann's bakery parking lot in Amesbury, and comes to my window and says, ma'am, you went through that red light back there. And I said, yeah, I was going too fast to stop. Who says that? So the cop was like, so he goes, so you're admitting you were speeding? And I was like, oh, well, I was just going too fast to stop. Like I didn't know what to say. And he's just looking at me like, you freaking idiot. So to make matters worse, he asks me for my registration. I reach into the glove compartment. I hand it to him, and it says 2020 on it. Now, my car is fucking registered, I swear to God, but of course, the freaking registration I hand this man who already thinks I'm a whack job because I just told him I sped through a light because I was going too fast, couldn't stop. He says to me, ma'am, I don't want to have to tow this car, but I will if I have to. I was like, I swear to God, I don't know where. I just got my license renewed. My car is inspected. This car is registered. I swear. He's like, all right, because I don't want to have to tow it. I will tow it. And I'm like, I promise you, it's registered. Can you just take my license and check? And he's like, yeah. So me being in an anxious state, being like, where the hell did I put my new registration? Because I know I have it. I get out of the car. Well, he's behind me, so it's technically a traffic stop, but we're in a parking lot. I get out of the car to go in my trunk to try to see if my registration is in my car booklet that comes with the car and all the directions and stuff. So during a traffic stop, my genius behind gets out of the vehicle and goes to the trunk. Okay? What does that look like to a state trooper? Like, I'm not even thinking in my right mind. All of a sudden, fucking, he turns the siren on and he's like, ma'am, get back in your vehicle. Get back in your vehicle. Everybody in the freaking coffee shop is looking at me. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God. I was like, I was just trying to get my registration. He's like, get back in your car. So once I get back in my car, I realize what that looked like to him. I could have been getting a weapon, but I was really just checking for my registration. Well, long story short, he came back. He didn't even give me a warning. He was a really sweet cop, whoever you are. Thank you. Thank you. And I said to him, oh my God, I have such vomit of the mouth. I'm like, I wasn't going to kill you. I said, I wasn't going to get a weapon or anything. He's like, yes, ma'am, I know, but you're not supposed to get out. You're not supposed to get out when you're being pulled over. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. So that's this week's episode of Buckle Up. Thank you for listening. Beep, beep. So back to what I was saying with treatment. My experience of not wanting to go forward with treatment makes me want to help everyone that needs it and doesn't do. Even my therapist has a therapist. My therapist was like, how the hell do you think I get through my day with everybody pouring their, problems into my ears? And then how do you think I sleep at night? He goes, I need a therapist too. He said, I got my own problems, plus, everybody else's things weigh down on me. I think therapy should be something that people are proud of doing. You're getting help. I don't want to be a mental case. I mean, I am in some, there are a lot of things that I can admit I have, rage, which I bring to the road, rage in general, flying off the handle without thinking, things that anxiety actually cause that people don't realize. It's like you're all twisted up inside. It's like something is just twisting and twisting and twisting, and you can't actually catch your breath. Sometimes I'll go 20 minutes and be like, I didn't even fucking breathe that whole, I think that's the first time I breathed this whole fucking episode. Holy shit. So see, things like that. And then my mind will race so much at night about things that I don't even know. I have the weirdest dreams, things that don't even make sense. And it causes me not to be able to actually sleep. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't even feel like I'm rested because I was dreaming crazy things all night long. If your mind's racing, you're not actually really in a deep sleep. So treatment has helped me a lot. The medicine part of it, I'm trying to get away from. I don't want to do the whole medicine thing, but it's very hard when you have nightmares and nothing else works. It's when you can't sleep and it goes on for 2 weeks. It's literally the definition of insanity. You start to go insane without sleep. So it got to that point for me. I hope there's a lot of people out there that can just exercise and take supplements and do everything that's eat healthy and all. And I'm trying to do all those things now, like I said, and it has been beneficial. I'm definitely a completely different person than I was 2 years ago, even a year ago. Completely different. And Mental Health Awareness Month should be important to everyone because, as you see, people pretend to be happy and sometimes they're dying inside. Chadwick Boseman, is that how you say his last name, Sam? The guy from Black Panther. Okay, perfect example. That guy battled, now this isn't depression or anxiety, but this is a point of how sometimes there are people that fight their battles in silence. So this man was battling severe terminal cancer and didn't say a word about it. And then you got to think of that, and you got to think of people who are depressed and they just don't want to admit it. They need therapy for many reasons and they just don't want to admit it. And it's heartbreaking. Because I wish when I was dealing with the whole acne thing when I was a kid and I was miserable and couldn't get up out of bed and was calling out of work, like I worked at Umbria and I would call out every weekend. Mike Knackman, I love you. I'm sorry. I'm better now. He was my boss at my old nightclub. So I used to call out all the time, and it was literally because I was insecure about my face. And I wish that then was a time in my life that I couldn't admit that I needed therapy. I wish then I had someone to talk to get me through all that depression I felt, that situational depression that my face being covered in acne was causing. So mental health, there's just so many disorders that fall under this category that you may not even know exist. So it just goes back to being kind, because you really just don't know the battles that some people are dealing with in complete silence. And that one negative comment that you make to them, or that one thing that you do to someone who's literally already on the verge of breaking, that one thing that you do negative could change that whole person's life. And that's why doing something positive is so much more important, because that could change their life for the better. And you never know who's struggling. So I will have more on this. This is, like I said, this topic is very, very important to me. I've experienced it, and I feel for those who go through it. Anxiety has been one of the worst struggles of my whole life. It's terrible. So it's better now. I have it under control, but I just want everyone to know, overcome it, fight. You're worth it. You're not alone. You can get through whatever it is that you're dealing with. Believe me. I'm here for you. If nobody's here for you, I'm here for you. Reach out to me. If you're going through something, reach out to me. Message me. Because I understand. I felt loss. I felt pain. I felt depression. I've dealt with sleep disorder. I have to go and get a sleep test. I got to go frickin' to a hospital and get watched overnight because I can't frickin' sleep. I got to figure out what's wrong. So, people fight their battles in silence. I think you should start to speak up. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to share what you're going through. There are people out there just like you. So thank you so much for listening to this episode that is very near and dear to my heart. Like I said, my whole family has mental illness in some way, shape, or form. So, I have friends. I've seen someone be manic. It's a horrible thing. Dementia. I had to watch my grandfather start to lose his memory. There's so many mental illnesses that go into this category. So just be aware. Be more conscious. Be there for the people that you can be there for. It's important, and their life could depend on it. You never know. All right. Thank you for tuning in to episode 7. I appreciate it. Thankful for all of you that listen and tune in, support me. I couldn't be more grateful. Please like, subscribe, comment, share on all streaming platforms, and we'll be back next week. Bye, bitches.
Yes, I'm in designer. If I see her, then I got her, bro. Yes, I am a dog with these diamonds on my collar.